Hello and a warm welcome to Nationwide on the NTA. I am Ifoma Ojinta. And remember, you can follow this news live on our website, nta.ng/live, and other social media handles displayed on the screen. The National Council for Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship, established to guide the implementation of the Nigeria Startup Act 2022, has been inaugurated. President Muhammadu Buhari, who performed the ceremony, described the governance structure as critical towards consolidating the gains achieved by Nigeria's digital economy sector and making the country a global talent factory. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
The 14-member National Council for Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship, chaired by the President, will amongst others ensure that government agencies, entrepreneurs and investors support efforts at achieving the goals of promoting the growth of a vibrant and sustainable startup ecosystem in Nigeria.
The Nigerian Startup Act 2022 is a testament to the vision and commitment of our administration to harness the potential of Nigeria's young and innovative population who have demonstrated their ingenuity, creativity, and entrepreneurship spirit in creating innovative solutions to the challenges we face as a nation and as a continent.
The Act provides incentives and support for startups such as tax holidays, access to funding, ease of doing business, intellectual property protection, and participation in public procurement.
I hereby direct the Secretariat to ensure faithful implementation of the Nigeria Startup Act 2022. Implementation of the Act will lead to consolidation and further development of the gains recorded by Nigeria's digital economy. In the last 4 years, in the areas of contribution to GDP and increased revenue generation, amongst others. I wish members of the National Council a successful and productive engagements in harnessing our youth talents and uplifting our country's economy to new heights.
Records show that Nigeria has been at the forefront of the remarkable growth achieved by the startup ecosystem in Africa. The nation's startups account for over $4 billion out of the record $5.4 billion raised in Africa between 2019 and 2022.
Year in, year out, this administration has been setting new records when it comes to ICT contribution to GDP. A recent evaluation indicated that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari has increased revenue generation from the digital economy sector from 51 billion to 408 billion, an increase of 594%. This is indeed commendable, and I believe that the council to be inaugurated here is going to consolidate the achievements and the gains we have recorded so far.
Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, who used the opportunity to highlight other milestones achieved by Nigeria's digital economy sector, said the country is clearly migrating to knowledge-based economy and commended President Buhari for his unprecedented support in providing the enabling environment.
In Africa, as at February 2023, we had 7 unicorns. Unicorn is a company with a valuation over a minimum of $1 billion USD. Out of these 7 unicorns, 4 of them originated from Nigeria. The market value of 7 of them combined was 11.45 billion. 4 from Nigeria contributed 7.5 billion from that total amount. This is a clear indication and a success story of this administration.
The minister is under instruction by the president to convene the council's meeting next month in furtherance of efforts at ensuring the successful implementation of the Nigeria Startup Act. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And now to legislative matters. Senate has confirmed the nomination of Ahmed Walama Fatima Kyari and Benga Adebayo for appointment as members of the Universal Service Provision Board. This followed the report of the Senate Committee on Communications, which stepped down that of Funke Opeke because she did not appear for the screening for health reasons. Senate condemned bandits' attack in Usa and Takum communities in Taraba South and called on the National Emergency Management Agency to provide relief materials to victims, as moved by Senator Emmanuel Bwacha.
Funke Opeke should be given the opportunity to appear for her screening immediately she returns to Nigeria.
The loss of lives from my constituents in the local government of Usa and Takum from Taraba South. To reach out to these communities because there are displaced ones in thousands that have left their communities and are running for cover, that the NEMA will reach out to them.
Meanwhile, members of a newly formed coalition of House of Representatives members-elect from the opposition political parties have expressed their commitment to a united 10th National Assembly that will be vibrant for a better Nigeria. This came to the fore at the inaugural meeting of the Minority Caucus held in Abuja. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
This is the slogan of the Minority Caucus, who are meeting for the first time as House of Representatives members-elect from 7 different political parties. These include the PDP, NNPP, LP, ADC, YPP, APGA, and the SDP.
We want to ensure that the minorities come together, strengthen and deepen democracy.
Ensure that every bill that will change the life of the common man get the light of the day in the assembly.
I believe that with our numbers, with our strength, and with our doggedness to achieve our common goal and purpose, which is to provide leadership within the National Assembly that will protect our democratic values.
Let's continue the way we've started today. We will continue to put in our best to see that everybody, every single member of this caucus is carried along.
We'll be watching and see how this alliance goes.
It is true that our brothers from PDP, they have greater number. But I like the spirit. They are carrying every other members of other political parties along.
Opposition members-elect unanimously agreed to work together with the executive arm of government to ensure equity and fairness in the discharge of the national mandate. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
In the meantime, the National Assembly will transmit to the President for assent the Constitution Alteration Bill 47 to enable the establishment of State Security Council. This is in line with the Authentication Act and having met the provision of Section 9, Subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution as complied by Oyo and Zamfara State Houses of Assembly. The State Security Council, when established, shall have the governor as chairman. Other members include the State Commissioner of Police, Chairman State Council of Traditional Rulers, State Commissioners in charge of internal affairs and security, and other persons the governor may appoint at his discretion. The council shall advise the state governor on matters of public security, as well as organizations and agencies established by law for security matters. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has maintained that the delay in uploading the February 25th election results was due to technical glitches experienced by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Anthony Forson reports that the minister restated this in Washington, D.C. shortly after one of his engagements.
Stating the reason for the delay, the Information and Culture Minister explains.
During the elections, there was a technical glitch. Because of technical glitch, INEC, to protect the sanctity of the data, suspended uploading the results. And immediately
set up a technical team to look into what went wrong and simultaneously floated another alternative platform.
On a report by an online publication quoting the minister to have said the delay by INEC to upload the results was deliberate, Lai Mohammed said,
"Of course, Premium Times must have an agenda. They inserted the word deliberately, omitted the phrase that it was in order to protect the sanctity of the data, and made it look like INEC just deliberately, refused to upload results of INEC. And honestly, I've always said it. If this irresponsible journalism would not cause war in Nigeria, we'll be very lucky."
He, however, called on the Nigerian media to embrace professional and honest ethical conduct. In Washington, D.C., Anthony Forson, NTA News.
And back home, the Nigerian Communications Commission has denied reports circulating in the media purporting the commission is involved in telephone tracking and leakage. A statement by the commission's Director of Public Affairs, Ruben Mwaka, notes that by the provisions of the Nigerian Communications Act 2003 and other extant laws of the Federation, the Commission does not and cannot track nor leak telephone conversations of anyone. The statement shows that the Commission has reported the allegations to relevant security agencies for proper investigation and necessary action. As a solution to WhatsApp account takeover by hackers, the Computer Security Incident Response Team recommends that users of the messaging app should set up a two-factor authentication. The Computer Security Incident Response Team describes the two-factor authentication as an identity and access management security methods that requires two forms of identification to access resources and data. With the enabled steps, a customized PIN is entered every time one logs into WhatsApp from a new device, adding an extra layer of security to the accounts. Now, hundreds of highways across the 6 geopolitical zones are becoming busier. This is because of the rapid pace of reconstruction powered by the NNPC Tax Credit Fund. Abdullahi Mohammed reports.
The roller coaster drive, not in the amusement park, though, but the experience of motorists plying Mokwa-Jeba Ilorin Highway. This turnaround became the norm when the federal government decided to make the highway a dual carriageway. Then, the NNPC tax credit scheme splashed the icing on the cake.
At the existing lane, we have completed 18.6 kilometers up to Wearing, which is an addendum to the existing dualization. Then on the dualized road now, we have completed 37 kilometers up to Wearing course, while we have 47 kilometers up to Binder course.
Now motorists are having a drive of a lifetime, with more than 50% of the project done. Ilorin-Jeba Highway, it's about 110 kilometers. So far, construction is ongoing here. One lane is being added to the previous one single lane. It is very critical, looking at the kind of trucks that follow it, bringing in supplies from the ports in Lagos towards the northern part of this country. The delivery will no doubt speed up the supply chain of goods to and from the country's premier port in Lagos. In Abuja, Abdullah Mohammed, NTA News.
The Buhari Media Organization, BMO, has described the Buhari administration as Nigeria's era of manufacturing and industrialization, going by data on the country's manufacturing output from the 80s to date. Latest figures by USA Economic Research Platform have shown that Nigeria's manufacturing output stands at $64.41 billion, which is slightly over 14% of the country's GDP and is 17.65% more than that of the previous years. In a statement signed by its chairman, Niyi Akinsiju, and Secretary Cassidy Madueke, BMO said this is a reflection of the Buhari administration's policy thrust since inception in 2015, determined to ensure that Nigeria move from over-reliance on imported goods to locally made products. This is backed by the Ease of Doing Business initiative, as well as the President's promise to give manufacturers improved access to foreign exchange, which has ensured steady growth in the local production of goods and services in the country. The group said all these are in line with the President's commitment to leave the country better than he met it. And it's time to join Awal in our Lagos Network Center for trending stories from that zone. Hello, Awal. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Intent on promoting professional media practice by upholding ethical standards among practitioners, the Nigeria Press Organization has inaugurated a National Media Complaints Commission in Lagos. Adeni Taiwo reports that NTA's former Executive Director of Programs, Eugenia Abu, is one of the 9 members commissioned.
As the fourth estate of the realm, which has a defined role of keeping the conscience of the society, the media has a duty to itself to operate above board at all times. The inauguration of the National Media Complaints Commission by the Nigeria Press Organization is the industry's own house-cleansing measure to watch the watchdog itself and promote professionalism. Headed by a former editor and managing director of the Guardian newspapers, Emeka Izeze, the 9-member commission is expected to serve as an independent forum for resolving complaints about the press promptly, fairly, and free of charge. President of the Nigeria Press Organization, Kabiru Yusuf, said the media helps itself when it upholds the right of people to know and seek redress when necessary.
This is not just about us, it is about the society. So we invite all stakeholders in the Nigerian project to support this initiative.
Acknowledging the onerous task of self-policing before the commission, its chairman said the ombudsman will at all times strike a balance between providing a fair platform for members of the society to seek redress without gagging the media.
We will attempt to do justice to your expectation and see how far we can go to help the media to operate professionally, to help the media to observe some of those rules that we drew up ourselves, and to help the media to be what this nation needs.
To encourage co-regulation of the media, members of the commission are drawn from civil society groups, the Nigerian Bar Association, media professional bodies, and the academia. In Lagos, Adeni Taiwo, NT News.
Now to security, the Nigeria Police Force is engaging strategic partners to check cybercrime, misuse of social media, and cultism, among other threats to national security. This was emphasized when the Commissioner of Police Lagos State Command, Idowu Owonwa, visited the Nigerian Television Authority Lagos Network Center. Lindeneke reports.
Security is crucial to the economic growth, stability, and development of any country. For this reason, the government leaves no stone unturned in ensuring that Nigerians are protected from any internal or external forces that may pose a threat to their lives and property. Lagos, as the nation's commercial nerve center, is of strategic importance for its socio-economic emancipation, which is why adequate attention is paid to security in the state. This meeting between the Commissioner of Police and the leadership of NTA Lagos Network Center is to synergize on crime prevention and control through effective policing. Experiences of the just concluded general elections was part of the discussions.
The greatest threat we have in this country today is driven by the misapplication of the benefits of the social media. This is the challenge I am facing as the Commissioner of Police there. And this is a challenge I wish to appeal to NTA to please assist in mitigating.
Zonal Director, NTA Lagos Network Center, promised NTA's continued support in promoting national unity.
There are so many issues that the public is waiting to hear from the right sources, what actions that are being taken. in order to stem the tide of some of these negative developments and stories that we have been inundated with of late. Our job is to sensitize the populace.
The police is also reassuring residents of adequate security with the support of the general public. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this new broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen. It's back to Kemi in Ibadan for more updates on Nationwide.
Welcome to Ibadan. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, wants ministries, departments and agencies to collaborate in the fight against corruption by setting up anti-corruption mechanisms to checkmate spending and guide against corrupt practices. ICPC's resident anti-corruption commissioner in charge of Oyo and Ogun states, Lucky Iriwa, stated these in Abeokuta. Hakim Jimo's report is here presented.
Take necessary lawful steps and mobilize others to join the crusade against corruption. So help me God.
That was the administration of oaths of office on the new executives of Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit, ACTU, Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Aro, Abeokuta, the resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner in charge of Oyo and Ogun States, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, Lucky Iriwa, urged the newly sworn-in executives to take the anti-corruption crusade of the federal government to the next level in the hospital by exposing loopholes of financial misappropriation.
We need partners, and these are partners in public institutions. They can set up their own little panel, make little findings, and submit to ICPC to take it from there.
I believe that everybody has a role to play. You know, the ATUs are like a watchdog, that kind of check what we are doing.
The high point of the event was the decoration of the provost and medical director of the hospital, Dr. Paul Agbola, and others as the grand patron and patrons of the Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit.
As the holy month of Ramadan progresses, clerics have continued to harp on the numerous benefits of the holy month, urging Muslims to position themselves to make the most of the month. Adobe Obechina tells us more.
Ramadan in Arabic stands for the 9th month in Islamic calendar. It is considered the holiest month in Islam. It is also observed with fasting, prayers and almsgiving, which are among the 5 pillars of Islam. Respondents say it is a period to do away with sinful acts and draw closer to Almighty God.
A month of blessing. People do respect this month, and they believe that they praying now, observing Jumat, observing their Salat and all other things, they will have benefit from Almighty Allah.
Spiritual elevation, to be open ourselves to good character, to do good things in the society.
Teaches you to be able to assist people, the needy. It gives you good health, because when you fast, you have good health.
Others describe the month of Ramadan as a time to have closer relationship with Almighty Allah and give more spiritual attention to daily activities. Adobe Obiechina, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. Nationwide continues in Abuja with Ifeoma.
Thank you very much, Kemi. The National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies is partnering the UN Women on scientific approaches to gender issues that will promote more women representation and participation in governance. Director General of the Institute, Professor Suleiman Abubakar, made this known when he received the UN Women Country Representative in Nigeria and ECOWAS, Beatrice E. Eyong. John Yakuk has the details.
The concern here is the decline in the number of women in elective positions from the outcome of the 2023 general elections in Nigeria. Director General of NEEDS, notes that though before the elections, the institute, in collaboration with other agencies, had carried out advocacy for more women participation in politics, but the outcome of the elections leaves much to be desired. He, however, said there is hope working in partnership with donor agencies on scientific approaches rather than social, cultural, and religious values.
And that is why we are convening this conference. We're coming up with a study that will lead to a book project. And I've asked the committee, headed by a woman too in my department, in my institute, to link up with women and other materials on how we can partner to get this thing done.
The UN Women Country Representative in Nigeria and ECOWAS is particularly interested in why the Gender Equality Bill in Nigeria failed and the possibility of fine-tuning it to give more women the opportunities.
We can work towards having a gender-responsive parliament. A gender-responsive parliament is a parliament where men and women are free to put their full potential at the disposal of their country so that we can forge ahead with our development.
The meeting further solicits practicable approaches to a more gender-sensitive environment in Parliament and inclusive rules for women in government. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
FCT Minister of State Ramatu Tijani Aliyu has inaugurated 2 committees to help boost agriculture in the territory. Ifeanyi Izumba reports.
While inaugurating the committee, the Minister of State FCT expressed gratitude to President Muhammadu Buhari for approving the partnership on the projects that would go a long way in bringing about the avowed promise of leaving behind a legacy that would chart an unhindered course for sustainable economic development in Nigeria.
The concept of the Special Agro Processing Zone and its program, which is co-financed by the African Development Bank, the International Fund for Agricultural Development Bank, IFAD, and the Islamic Development Bank, ISDB, on the other hand, aims at mobilizing private sector.
Mandate Secretary FCT Agriculture and Rural Development Secretariat Abubakar Ibrahim noted that several states across the Federation have keyed into the program, and the inauguration marks the official takeoff of the program in the nation's capital.
And today's inauguration marked another very important step for the program implementation initiatives.
On behalf of the committee members, the FCT Permanent Secretary Olushade Adeshola revealed that the implementation of these 2 projects in the FCT could not have come at a better time than now.
This listed the urgent need that necessary measures be taken in order to address avoidable food insecurity.
He assured the minister that members of the committees would put in their best to ensure that the objectives of the projects are realized. In Abuja, Ifeanyi Izumba, NTA News.
Borno State's Governor Babagana Umar Zulum has paid another round of assessment visits to Malam Fatori, headquarters of Abadam local government area, a former Boko Haram stronghold along the shores of the Lake Chad. The reconstruction and assessment is coming ahead of planned voluntary repatriation of refugees from Niger Republic. Memuna Garba reports.
Malam Fatori in northern Borno is yet to be fully reoccupied since Boko Haram violently took over the town in 2014, forcing residents and nearby communities to flee to Niger Republic. The military dislodged the insurgent, leading to voluntary resettlement of residents who were again displaced by flood last year. Governor Zulum had visited Malam Fatori a couple of times, first to commence reconstruction and other times to supervise ongoing works.
My main objective is to see how we can return back people to this town. This town was re-established about a year ago, but unfortunately because of flooding that has happened last year, coupled with minor insecurity issues, the town was redisplaced again. We are here now to examine the situation and then look into the possibility of returning back the people to their ancestral homes.
The governor announced his approval for the release of armored personnel carriers, patrol vehicles, and some security gadgets for soldiers, noting that the support is to strengthen the military's capacity to increase their effectiveness in the fight against insurgents, and commended the officers and men of 68th Battalion, Malam Fatori, for their bravery and professionalism in discharging their duties. The governor, who is targeting May for resettlement of the refugees, called on the people to be resilient and give maximum cooperation to the security operatives working to restore normalcy. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
The passenger who caused public nuisance aboard an Abuja-Lagos flight, Obiajulu Uja, has been arraigned before the magistrate court in Zuba. Uja allegedly disrupted the takeoff of an Ibom Air flight from Abuja to Lagos on March 31st, 2023. Uja was carried off a Lagos-Abuja flight after he began a lone protest, allegedly demanding that the president-elect Bola Tinubu must never be sworn in as president on May 29th. The defendant is being tried for public nuisance, resistance to a lawful arrest, threatening, violence and conduct likely to cause a breach of peace. The magistrate court ordered that Uja should be remanded in prison custody. And our next stop is Enugu Network Center, and Comfort is our guide. Hello, Comfort.
Hello, Ifoma. Good afternoon, and many thanks for joining us in Enugu. For quick dispensation of justice at the grassroots, the president of the Customary Court of Appeal, Enugu State, Justice George Nnamani, has sworn in 459 newly appointed chairmen and members of customary courts in the 3 senatorial zones of the state for a 3-year tenure. Ukeri Augu reports that the ceremony was held at the Customary Court of Appeal in Enugu State.
The gentlemen and ladies who took oath of allegiance into judicial office to perform functions statutory to the customary laws of the state were found credible for their appointment as customary court judges, having passed the written oral examinations and covert investigation. The President, Customary Court of Appeal, Enugu State, Justice George Nnamani, urged the newly appointed chairmen and members of the Customary Court to discharge their judicial duties honorably and creditably.
With the recent signing into law by President Muhammadu Buhari of the 16th alteration bills, one of which was for financial autonomy of state judiciaries.
Justice Nnamani equally used the forum to announce to the registrars of customary courts of Enugu State to henceforth make half-yearly reports of cases to the customary courts of appeal for the purpose of superintendence and assessment of their courts. The chairman, Nigerian Bar Association Enugu State Chapter, appealed to the president to ensure that credible people are appointed for the job.
The 3 of us, the chairman of different branches, have come to speak with one voice. Anything short of the credibility and the credible process to which the persons that are sworn in today were appointed will be seriously opposed.
In Enugu, Ukeri Augu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, a bill for a law to provide full integration for persons with disabilities in the society, as well as establishment of Persons with Disability Agency, has been passed by the Enugu State House of Assembly. Chimaroke Ugu also reports that a motion for urgent public importance urging President Muhammadu Buhari to investigate the role of the military in the just concluded 2023 governorship and House of Assembly elections in Enugu State was moved.
They are regarded as the most vulnerable in the society, yet they feel dejected and sometimes abandoned. This explains the plenary at the hallowed chamber to deliberate the ways to integrate them properly into the society.
The bill for the law to provide for the full integration of the persons with disability into the society, establish Enugu State Persons with Disability Agency, and vest in the agency the responsibility for their education, healthcare, social, economic, and civil rights, and for connected purposes.
The bill was immediately passed.
Those in favor say aye. The ayes have it.
Also, a motion of urgent importance moved by Chinedu Nwamba called on the House to urge the President to investigate the excesses of the military and security agencies during the governorship election in Enugu and sanction those found wanting. Other legislators who spoke concurred to the prayers and hoped for swift action.
People came out excited to come and cast their votes. But if we pay close attention to what happened on the second day, because of the build-up and the activities that had transpired as a build-up to that election, most of our people did not come out.
Sitting was adjourned to reconvene on the 25th of April 2023. In Enugu, Chimaroke, Ugu, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from here. We will take you to Port Harcourt Network Center after this break. Do stay with us.
Good evening and welcome to Port Harcourt. The National Population Commission says it is ready for the conduct of the 2023 Population and Housing Census. Federal Commissioner, National Population Commission, Rivers State, and Chairman, 2023 Census Committee, Igbalibo Hari, stated fees at the swearing-in of the Publicity Committee in Port Harcourt. Osinachi Abraham reports.
Stakeholders Committee ahead of the conduct of the 2023 Population and Housing Census in Rivers State. They are drawn from the media, traditional institution, past federal commissioners of the National Population Commission, and other stakeholders. They are to, among other duties, carry out vigorous census education and advocacy down to the rural communities.
We will make sure we utilize all necessary media platforms to get this message to them so that they will be ready to participate and make themselves available to be counted.
Census is good in governance because you have to know the number of issues to treat.
The Nigerian populace expects them to come out digital in practice and not digital in theory.
As the federal government set 3rd of May for the commencement of Population and Housing Census in Nigeria, Chairman, 2023 Census Committee, Dr. Ipalibo Hari, assures Rivers people of a credible census that will positively impact the nation's economy.
The EA is the foundation is a receptor for the population. So if you have 10 EAs in your local government area, you are unlikely to have a population that will carry 200 persons. So that strongly restricts manipulation.
Nigeria had her last census in 2006. In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Abraham, NTA News.
Determined to get ports in Nigeria working, especially ports in the eastern parts of the country and Calabar Port in particular, the Managing Director of the Nigerian Ports Authority, Mohammed Bello Koko, had directed port managers to ensure ports under their purview come alive with operation. This directive, Achibombasi reports, has yielded positive results.
For over 10 years, this is the first time 4 vessels have come calling on the Calabar port back to back. And currently, there are others waiting at the Fairway Buoy to burst. You can see the massive operations going on here. And you will agree with me that this is a welcoming development for the Calabar port.
For these vessels to come here, we had to ask for concessional rate. If you bring so amount of cargo, you have a concessional rate for coming. And he gave their approval. Calabar port is visible, is working, and very reliable to use.
The Calabar port manager, Mr. Olumati Festus, speaks on the security situation in Calabar port.
If you look at the sea now, you see the marine police patrolling. Calabar is safe for ship owners, for cargo owners, and for intending customers.
2 of these vessels, Medi Bangkok, came calling with 18,251 metric tons of general cargo, comprising of project pipes, containers, and trucks, while Desert Unity brought 16,000 metric tons of wheat in Calabar. Achibombasi, NTA News.
And that's it from Port Harcourt. Is now back to Ifoma in Abuja.
Thank you, Jenny. The federal government has declared Friday 7th and Monday 10th April 2023 as public holidays to mark this year's Easter celebration. In a statement, Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola urged Christians to emulate the virtues of sacrifice, togetherness, forgiveness, love, peace and patience as exemplified by Jesus Christ. The minister assures Nigerians of a peaceful transition as the country is on the path of greatness, wishing all Christians a blissful Easter and all Nigerians a happy holiday. Meanwhile, towards ensuring a safe and smooth 2023 Easter celebrations, the Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps, Dauda Alibiu, has tasked commanding officers to ensure full deployment of staff for maximum visibility, prompt removal of obstructions and ease of movement on all highways across the nation. A statement from the Corps indicates that the directive is in line with the operational guidelines of this year's special patrol scheduled to commence from 6th to 12th April 2023. The statement further says that the objectives of the special operations are reduction in road traffic crashes, road traffic fatalities and road traffic injuries, prompt response to road traffic crash victims, unhindered engagement in purposeful public education and enlightenment, and speedy removal of obstruction from the highways are also part of the objectives of the exercise. The FCT Development Control Department has appealed to the UTC traders and the public to be calm. The Director of Development Control Department, Mukhtar Galadima, made the plea while reacting to the protest by the UTC traders on Tuesday over the demolition of some parts of the markets. Onoze Yakubu reports.
That was the situation Tuesday morning at the UTC shopping complex Abuja, where aggrieved traders shut down business activities to protest demolition of parts of the market.
The 5th of December 2020, we came to this complex and saw 3 billboards erected by Urban Shelter that they want to remodel this complex. While all this was going on, Development Control came and wrote quick notice.
The owners of UTC approached us for development permits, which we have granted. But somehow along the line, in the execution of the project, there was a kind of conflict. Management of Abuja Investment Company drew our attention to the fact that the matter is in court, so we should tarry a while not to remove the structure. But there is this plaza that has extended its fence beyond boundary, so the intention was to go and remove that extension, not the UTC shop. Unfortunately, the operator that was sent to do the job and the officers, they moved to the UTC shop, but luckily it was the fence they removed.
With this intervention, it is hoped that the aggrieved traders will exercise restraint and allow the FCT authorities address the situation. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
A renowned Islamic scholar, Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi, has called on Nigerians not to sacrifice the unity and peaceful coexistence of the nation for petty religious sentiments. He made the appeal when he hosted a former Minister of Sports and Youth Development, Solomon Dalong, and Christian cleric, Pastor Yohana Buru, to break the Ramadan fast at his residence in Kaduna. Dawuda Muhammad reports.
Ramadan is a sacred month in which Muslims devote themselves to fasting and prayers for blessings from the Almighty Allah. In promoting religious harmony, Christian leaders joined their Muslim brothers to observe Iftar despite their differences. Former Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Solomon Dalong, and a Kaduna-based cleric, Pastor Yohana Buru, who have been sharing the bond during Ramadan with Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi, say the gesture is aimed at fostering religious tolerance, love, unity, and peaceful coexistence among both faiths, as well as unifying the society.
We also want him, as a father, to send a strong message of peace to Nigerians on the need to live in peace and harmony despite our differences.
Praying that Christians and Muslims understand themselves, live in peace and harmony with one another. Wherever Christians might have offended Muslims in this country and the world at large, or Muslims might have offended Christians in this country and the world at large, please let us find a place in our heart to forgive one another and live in peace and harmony.
Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi said, for Nigeria to develop, adherents of the two major religions must unite and work together. The breaking of the fast ended with pleasantries between the leaders of the different religions, with special prayers for the peace and development of the country. Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
Let's take a look at new happenings in the world of sports.
Remo Stars have dropped to 5th from 3rd position on Group A log of the Nigeria Professional Football League after the interim management committee of the league docked them 3 points and 3 goals for assaulting a match official during a match day 12 encounter against Gombe United. The IMC found the club guilty of breaches of extant provisions guiding the operation of the league with a fine of 500,000 naira, while the referee in the BC Uka is to be paid 250,000 naira in compensation, with Remo Stars manager Ekene Adams banned till the end of the season and ordered to be prosecuted for his unprofessional conduct in the court of law.
IMC is not here to play. They mean business, and they're going to sanction any team that try to bend the rules by assaulting referees. No, you cannot. Football is about either win, draw, or lose. So when you're not winning, you should take loss into your hand.
In the English Premier League, the race for top 4 finish continues midweek when Manchester United welcome Brentford to Old Trafford. United lost 4-0 to the Bees earlier in the season and will fancy their chances against the visitors, who are optimistic of qualifying for European club competition next season. At the London Stadium, West Ham United entertained 3rd place Newcastle United in a match which its outcome carries implications for the survival hopes of the Hammers and Champions League aspirations of the Magpies. Away from football, the first golf major of the year tees off Thursday at Augusta with spotlight on the activities of LIV Golf Tournament players who defected from the USPGA. Golf world number 1 and defending champion Scotty Scheffler is up against a strong field of contenders, including Saudi Arabia-backed LIV Golf stars in Phil Mickelson and Brooks Koepka. The 87th edition of the Masters holds at the Augusta National Golf Club in Georgia, USA. With sports updates, Ayodeji Makinde, NTA News.
And that's the end of the news. But before we go, remember that the National Population Census is 28 days to go. We count, be counted. Thanks for watching.